Hey guys, I'm Dr. Norton Therapy, and welcome to another episode of Choose Your Choices podcast, the podcast that helps you get your mind right. Today, we're going to talk about how your feelings are influenced by your behaviors. I have special guests, a very dear guest to me, No IG Bam. You guys make sure that you show love by liking, commenting, and subscribing.
A lot of people try to, just hop over feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to go through it. You can't hop over things. You know what I mean? What I mean by that, you have to go through it. You have to, let it ride out. You have to start from the beginning and go all the way through. You can't start from the beginning and then try to hop over. You understand what I'm saying?
Everything's a process.
Because you miss something. Yes, you miss something. So what you miss is that you don't understand what you're feeling. You might think you do, and then when you that feeling arrives again, you really don't know how to act towards it. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. When you said like your word is, stepping over it. Like a lot of times people suppress their emotions, right? So you may not full right deny whatever you're feeling, right? But you kind of suppress it, you mask it, right? But like you said, when it shows up even stronger. I think of like a snowball, like, it's rolling down the hill, right? So one day, you're able to divert it, but when it comes back, it's going to come back stronger and faster. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, because what it is, people suppress. When you start suppressing feelings, it becomes a bad habit. Instead of dealing with things, you suppress them a lot. So then you really don't know what you feel, and you get lost within yourself with your emotions. You get lost in emotions because you start reacting to things that you don't know where they're coming from. You ever see somebody get irritated about something small, and you're like, where'd that come from, bro? They don't even know because they done suppress so much that they lose their identity. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that's why you have to, the way to get over it, you have to practice. It's like an exercise. You have to practice expressing yourself, and to people that that you have confidence in, that you trust, that you can talk to, like professional like yourself,
Yes, sir.
or someone that's close to you. You gotta express these things because that helps you to see the big picture and identify who you are. You got to get that stuff out in order to correct it, to move on. Or if you keep suppressing it, you stay stuck.
Yeah, like you said.
Hold on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was saying, that's what I practice. You know what I mean? I practice, when I know I'm feeling something, instead of suppressing it, even if I don't want to take a look at it, I know it's not going to do me no good by just trying to deal with it myself. I call you on the phone sometimes. We kick it. I talk to my girl. You know what I mean? I get it out. I don't hold on to that.
What helped you?
That's called the growing process. You be able to grow that way. That's how I feel.
What helped you? Because I think in our culture, especially, like, all right, so you see the diagram, right? So it's supposed to be a line between your thoughts and your feelings. But I think that in our culture, it's like certain feelings are acceptable and certain feelings aren't acceptable. So a lot of us, we learn to deal with everything through anger, through rage, through those kind of quote unquote more acceptable emotions. What helped you like realize, so all right, right now I'm suppressing my emotions, like I need to take some moments and be real with myself, right? And feel like my real emotion. What do you think helped you make that transition?
What helped me is that I got out of denial. It helped me. I started seeing more when, by talking and expressing myself, I started learning more about myself. So I just kept, like I said, kept practicing that, and I got better. You know what I mean? I'm not 100%. I don't know it all. I don't know everything that, I still have some other deep feelings and emotions that maybe I haven't touched on yet. But if I know it's something, if I see myself feeling depressed or not feeling, myself, I'm going to speak. I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna reach out to, people that my confidant, you know what I mean? Which is your mom's. My aunt. I kick it with her, yo, auntie. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You
Shit
need
ain't,
that though.
feeling right now. And it helps. It helps because it helps you to grow as a person. You know what I mean? It helps you better in relationships. It helps you better to have more patience with your kids. Because if you're not, this old saying, if you're not right, if you don't take care of self, how are you going to be in a relationship? How are you going to be in take care of your kids? You have to be in touch with yourself. You have to be in control of your emotions to where you and your feelings. You gotta teach. It's like you have to parent yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You tell your kids to tell you the truth, right? You tell your
Practice what you
kids tell
preach.
you the truth. You know what I mean? You could tell me anything. So as an adult, you got to be able to tell the truth. That's what I mean by parenting yourself. You got to be able to say, well, listen, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? You can get some feedback on and somebody can recognize it because they can see it better than you can.
No,
They
so
on the
that brings me to a good point. So, in therapy, right, a lot of people between the thoughts and the feelings, like we learn to either we're in denial or we wear like a mask. You know what I'm saying? So the mask could be like I'm okay, but in reality, I'm afraid or I'm scared or I'm anxious, whatever it is. So it's like a lot of times people have, masks that they put on to operate, but then there's also baggage that they have that they're carrying. So like exactly what you're saying that you have in your support system. That's the role of the therapist. Like the role of the therapist is to help you see your baggage or your mask or how you're operating, so that you can really get to your authentic, true self. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna remove this
I
this
understand what you're saying.
this template thing. Um, but yeah, any other remarks about feelings and behaviors?
Well, personally speaking, you have to about feelings and thoughts and feelings influence behavior. That comes from like we got to go back to the upbringing and our surroundings, our neighborhoods we came up in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like from my experience, you know, coming up, you know what I'm saying? It's like not, the lifestyle, not having much, you know what I'm saying, coming up, not
Mm-hmm.
having, which is your uncle, my father, losing him at a young age.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
trauma,
saying?
man.
Not having, having a dysfunctional household and trying to become a man on your own. You go through a lot of emotions and you don't have someone there to tell you about those feelings. Like I told you once before, you know, it's like taboo to go talk to in the hood coming up, to talk to a therapist or someone else. You'll talk to somebody on the street
Right.
because that's where you're at. You know what I mean? That seems a cool thing to do. You'll kick it with brother on the corner next to you and you trust him and he don't know nothing. He's just as lost as you are. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the blind leading the blind. So it becomes it's a cycle. You know what I mean? As black men coming up in the hood, you know what I mean? We're ignorant to the fact that you can go to, being honest and opening up is not being a punk. You can go to a therapist and get some understanding of what you're going through more than, your main man that's on the corner,
Doing the
you
same
know,
thing as you.
is doing the same thing, yes. But we don't see that because, like I said, it's a cycle. It's a cycle, you know what I mean? And in order we have to, like what we doing, this is why I said, I'll talk on your podcast because these are things to break that cycle. Brothers like myself that have been through it, I can try to shed light on it so that, it can, like I said, it can help others. Hopefully, it can help others. People that can identify with what we're talking about and things that like because I tell you, coming up, I was ignorant to the fact that having trying to be a man on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of mistakes, I suppressed a lot of feelings. You you have little, so you do bad things to get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that. And the thing, that's where the mental health come in, because you don't want to do those bad things. You want to be a productive member of society, but you don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing wrong, and then you making, you start to believe, that this is the way to go. You start to believe that becomes your Bible.
I, I I I think that ties right into feelings and behavior because it's like okay, you start to do those things, right? Now you start to feel more empowered. You getting more money, you getting more, et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of keeps you in that cycle. Another piece, you told me before, and it's always stuck with me. A wise man seeks wise counsel. So if you somebody who is experiencing these feelings, right? You may not feel like you're being truly authentic to yourself. Like seek wise counsel. So wise counsel doesn't mean somebody who's directly parallel to you. When you told me that, I thought about somebody who's more knowledgeable, more experienced, somebody who could really give me some game. So you mentioned that to me before. I figured I'll throw that nugget out there.
Yes,
Good.
that's that comes with growth, and that comes with hopefully, like a lot of our brothers and sisters that come from my surroundings, from the hood, from the
Mm-hmm.
ghetto, you know, hopefully they get to that point, because a lot of us don't make it out that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When we get stuck, we go to prison. You get on drugs. It's a lot of things that can happen in the midst of all those, that denial and not knowing, just being,
That
and people
that's
prey on that. Society preys on that.
that's a
You
good
know
point
what
that
I mean?
you go. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying so. That's a good point that you bring up. I think that's a good transition to addiction. Um, so this was another topic that we wanted to talk about: addiction, self discipline, in our communities. Like, so you mentioned it's kind of like this cycle, right? So lack of opportunities, lack of resources. It's kind of like one way to go. On the one hand, it's the incarceration, but on the other hand, it's the whole addictive tendencies, addiction, those kind of things. Like, so we just kind of talking about general how we feel about different things, just how things are influenced and related to mental health. I could give the whole science behind addiction, all that kind of stuff, but just wanted to give you a few moments just to talk about addiction and your thoughts on it.
My thought about it is, it's an escape that, it's like a false of reality.
Mm-hmm.
So one minute, you having a drink, you feeling good, the next minute you on skid row
Mm-hmm.
because you lost that time. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of our brothers. That's how we start out, because it goes back to what your mother tell you, and we didn't listen. We like I told you, a lot of um, men trying to be men without fathers. You know what I mean? So you pick the wrong places, you mess with the wrong thing, you know, you pick up bad habits,
Yeah.
and that's where like what you're saying, that's where the addiction coming from. It's like you don't know what you're dealing with. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, it's a cycle.
It's a cycle for sure. And I think addiction looks like so I'm just thinking about like the different decades, right? So like the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. We're in 2021 now, so 2020s. So like even addiction is like, it's more than drugs. Now you got video game addiction, internet addiction, right? Some people want alcohol, right? Some people everybody's different, but I think I don't want to say the opposite of addiction, but this was another topic that we had was going to be like that self discipline. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about self discipline and recently what's that look like for me. So I went on like a fast in December before my birthday, where I went like 25 days. But they say with fasting you get more clarity, right? So I think that the biggest clarity that you get is when you're disciplined. It's like I feel like everything kind of moves in motion, like moves as it's supposed to. Like if you could take some time out, so let's say you don't want to take the stairs, right? But you take the stairs, like doing the things that you don't want to do, right? That you know are going to be beneficial for you, for somehow, some way that it's like the stars always align and things start to kind of manifest and gravitate.
It's a coincidence you said that. I was speaking to my daughter, which is 15 today, Angie. I'm talking to her, and she's going over to hang out with a group of her friends. They all go to her school, right? And as we in the car, I'm telling her the same thing we're talking about. We were talking about eating right, and I told her, you gotta have that discipline, to eat the right things. You know what I'm saying? To eat that balanced meal. And I also what I was telling her was that it makes you feel better. You know what I mean? To eat right, you know what I mean? And to have that self-discipline to eat right. I said you have more energy opposed to eating a McDonald's. You eat some salad and some fruit, you have that energy. It gives you a better outlook and you feel better about yourself. It gives you more confidence, you know?
Yeah, you definitely get
That's
more confidence. So
just,
I think the confidence is the nutrients that you're getting, but also it's some confidence where it's like, I don't need the burger today. Like, I'm a, I'm focused
yeah,
on this.
it's
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. It clears your mind. It keeps you because you're more clear. You don't eat that and all that, and you fall out and you're tired. You don't want to think. You don't want to read. You don't want to do anything productive. You just want to slouch.
Right.
It gives you more to have a productive day. You
That's
know.
that's for sure. And I think about like so when I went through the fasting thing, like I felt my feelings, like my genuine feelings, a lot stronger. Like if I was upset, I was like genuinely upset. If I was excited, I was genuinely excited. Right? If I felt like nervous or uncertain, so I feel like if you could do something to like you got instant gratification, then you have delayed gratification. So if you could do something to where you're disciplining yourself to that delayed gratification, whether it's losing 10 pounds, right, or whatever exactly it is, I feel like it just helps your overall, your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. So it kind of keeps you in that positive cycle where it's like, okay, I'm able to avoid the Kit Kat today or whatever the case is, and it kind of gives you that empowering feeling, right? Now you continue on that cycle. So, self discipline is
You,
really big.
but you know how you avoid certain things. It's like how you said to avoid it. Don't it's like somebody taught me something. They said keep it simple, stupid. What he mean by that was keep things simple, and what you just said, avoid the Kit Kat. Don't put it in your refrigerator.
Don't.
You understand what I'm saying? Good stuff in your refrigerator, and now you don't have the temptation. You don't see it. You have nothing but good vegetables and salads and all the good stuff that you need. That's what you're going to eat. You know. So when you have that weak moment, it's not there.
I
You
wanna.
understand?
Nah, for sure, for sure. So, are you familiar with food deserts?
No.
All right. So, a food desert
The food
is
deserts.
yeah, like a desert,
Oh.
but it's called food desert. So that means like specifically in inner cities, food deserts are areas that you can't get like fresh produce and fresh foods, right? So it's kind of
Oh,
like
now I'm familiar with that.
right. You ain't know what they called it, right? But I think
No.
about so like they're flooding the communities with like processed food, right? So not grade A food. I feel like that ties directly into self discipline, right? So if you are somebody who is in an urban area, right? So let's say you're in the hood, it's going to be 10 times harder than you to get healthy food, healthy alternatives than somebody who is in the suburbs and can access Whole Foods. You know what I'm saying? So
You're 100% right.
I just think about
You're
like the
100% right.
how our communities and things like that. But there are plenty of documentaries on that. But in regard to self
You
discipline,
know,
what the health?
you know, I go to the store to get It's I only go there to get like some bottles for my juices. You know the juices I
Yeah.
make.
Okay.
I go to the store. At one time, they had food there. It's called Food Fest.
Okay.
Like this type of food you're talking about. It's like it's grade D meat and products. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If they had the grade D or F, right?
Wow.
I'm I'm in there, and what I'm seeing trucks out there that's in the neighborhood. Like I even seen like okay for example, I see Sylvia's, you know the restaurant
Yeah. Yeah.
downtown.
Soul food spot. Yeah.
Exactly. Not the bad rapping pipe, but I'm keeping it real. You know what I mean? I've seen the neighborhood trucks, you know, the names out there, you know, with names on them like what's another one? It was Jamaican restaurant they got up here called I can't think of the name right now, but you know, like the chain of West Indian restaurants they have.
Mm-hmm. Not Golden Corral or nothing.
Golden Crust.
Okay.
There
Golden
you go.
Crust. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I see these trucks out here, so I'm like, damn, this is where they getting their oxtails from, and that's like I'm saying, that's what you call it again.
Food desert. Food desert.
That's what they that's what they about.
Mm-hmm.
They getting that cheap stuff, and they going to the back to my neighborhood. I'm looking at them. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't eat this stuff. I wouldn't buy food from here, but when I go to these restaurants, I'm eating it anyway
Right. You
because
buying it.
that's
You know. And you
and the only
paying
reason
top
I
dollar
came
if you go
upon
to
that.
the to the
I
other
can't.
restaurant. You paying more.
I stumbled upon that because I went to that store to get those bottles that we use for the juice bottles.
Right. And you just picked up
But
on that. Yeah, but I feel like all that, it can affect your mental health. Like, you putting trash in your body, you consuming trash, you're gonna feel like trash. Like that's just kind of how it is. If you drinking more water, you start to feel a little more pep in your step.
because it's all connected, man, and that's why this mental health thing that you're working at is very serious. That's why I chose to do this with you because like I said, I experienced it, and there's so many thoughts go through my mind on how big of an umbrella this was. Like we just spoke about food, you talk about drugs, we talked about the surroundings, the upbringing, single men, just all that right there, and it's much more. So it's like what I'm saying when you talk about the food. Now, what happens when you eat the bad food? What's the next cycle? You go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You got bad health. Now you go to the doctor and they act like they're helping you,
Hit you with the
but they
scripts.
want to push medicine on you. Now the medicine gonna fuck you up. They're gonna keep you addicted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Cycle.
You know, exactly. It's a cycle, and the only way to to beat that is by getting help from a therapist like yourself. You know what I mean? People have to seek that, that wise counsel we was talking about. They have to seek that so that they won't end up in prison, end up in these doctors' offices for eating wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or end up bottom line. I heard somebody say, change or die. You know?
I think Diddy said
That's
that.
for
Yep.
real. No, I heard Farrakhan say it.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Said change or die. And the thing about it, you have to seek that. You got to seek that help out because brothers like you got to keep doing what you're doing to help people to save lives because it's so much. Even we haven't even touched on the schools. How the system is systematic racism. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things that it's a cycle that is if you don't have a strong foundation and a good mentor, somebody to talk to, you get lost out here
I think I
because
think
it's
the way the system's set up, if you don't have things like you saying, a good support system, self discipline, it's literally set up for you to either, like you said, health complications, you on medication, etc., you going to jail, or you're going to be dead. It's like the things like self discipline, right? Truly feeling your feelings. These are the things that you got to do against the norm that will help you elevate past your environment and your circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
yes, 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 and you know, I'm not going to say that it's easy. You know what I mean? Because when I say what I mean is that, when you've been doing something for so long, you know, you tend to relapse. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You tend, hit a brick wall, but you can never give up. See, that's the thing about it. You can never give up. I mean, because as we speaking right now, that's something that I'm doing. Drinking water and I love chocolate cake. You know what I mean? I love chocolate cake. So chocolate, because I grew up off of chocolate cake with the yellow frost. I mean, chocolate
Yellow
frosting
inside.
with, and my birthday just passed, on the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And my girl made me a nice cake. Yo, I was sneaking up on that thing every night. Every time I walk by it, I come back and say, I'm gonna take a little
Little.
piece. I wanted to eat that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, so what I'm saying is that, but I didn't get it. With the point I'm making, the next morning, I got up flushing my system, drinking water. I didn't give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't just eating cake every day. After that, I had to catch myself and say, you know what? I overindulged. Let me get back to, um, being aware of my feelings and not letting influence my behavior.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Loving
I kept
yourself enough.
practicing.
Loving yourself enough to you can make a mistake and still stay on target. Sometimes like
Yeah,
people get too hard on themselves, but just love your like just like you said,
exactly.
knowing like, hey, shit, it was my birthday. I
I'm
wanted some
human.
cake. Right. I know
Yeah,
that's not the best situation. Let me try to get it back. But having that optimistic mindset, some people that turns into I'm a piece of crap because I eat the cake, and it turns into more of a negative, pessimistic kind of thing. So I mean that's a great point. I want to bring up another topic really fast. So this will be I know we could talk about 1,000,005 things, but we wanted to just give you guys like there's some topics that we wanted to discuss. We got some big things in the works. I think this is going to be a good one. So this is going to be about family and relationships. Um, I don't know where to start.
with families and relationship, it goes. We can start back to where we was at because we actually touched on it. If you think about it, like when I was talking about our surroundings, single men. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Trying to be a family man when you didn't. How you have to be a father when you haven't had a father? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? You're trying to learn as you go. You know, like I said, I mean, a lot of us do it, but some things sometimes it get dysfunctional. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and there's always an uncertainty. So like I grew up without my pops. I got two sons. They're young, but like even like I mean I hear I'm doing a good job, but it's still always like am I doing this too good? Like, cause there's no baseline for this is what it's supposed to be, or I wish this would have changed, et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of us like we kind of get I don't want to say guided by our peers, but you 16, 17, 18, 19, your friends thoughts about you are gonna weigh heavily, but I think the families, the relationships, in this day and age, marriage isn't really, as prevalent as it was before, which turns into baby mothers and baby fathers and child support and courts and you know what I'm saying, all those kind of things. Once again, the system, our environment. So like we talking food deserts. We ain't even touch on the school stuff. We're talking about like the environment where they're breaking up the fathers. Now they turning the mothers against the fathers, if that makes sense.
Okay. For example, you're like in my family, second generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said, your father wasn't there, but when we was talking about wise men seek wise counsel,
Right.
like even though you're a therapist, like you said, you talk to me, you talk, your moms have a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
and you broke the cycle. I'm very proud of you. You
Thank you.
broke the cycle. And you have to use that cycle to, I mean, you have to use that information and for your kids. You know what I mean? Like I said, you, you have to teach them in the house. It
Right.
starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It starts at home. And you fortunate to be there. You know what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, you can teach them at a young age.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're young. So, you know, you have a good start. But you still, without the point I'm making, like you still have to, even though you're helping people, you have to help yourself to help, you know, to give it away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To help someone else. You got to keep
You can't pour from an empty glass.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what you do. That's why when you call me and pick my brain, because I appreciate you. Because I know, like at first I told you, you know, I don't get on camera and talk to
Right.
nobody. You know,
Right.
I did this for my little cousin
Good looking.
because I know in the no, I know in the long run it's going to help me. Like I said, running water stays fresh,
Mm.
and for me to practicing right now, I'm practicing expressing myself on camera where I can learn more about myself. You know what I mean? And
Right.
overcome some fears and deal with my emotions. You know what I mean? To see what it is and not be afraid of them. And like I said, it's like you got to go through stuff. You can't try to go around it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's one thing I let you know, cuz one thing your cousin does is I go through things. I don't care how much I want to hop over it or whatever. No, I gotta sit and go through it and learn and go through. You know, if I make a mistake, I can't just try to sweep it under the rug.
Nah,
You
I'm the
understand what I'm
same
saying?
way. Yeah, I'm the same way.
I'm dealing with it. I'm
Sometimes that's
dealing with
hard.
it
Sometimes that's the
head on.
that's the road less traveled because it's harder, but that's how you grow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Speak about that. Mike Tyson, he said, what he say? He said, "I do the things I hate to do, but I do it like I love it." But that's also Mike Tyson, so
Okay.
take it
Yeah.
within context.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. From experience, I have three daughters, three baby mothers, three different women. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with different different personalities. You know what I mean? Within, you know, raising my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to, even though we're all not together, I still have to deal with the personalities. I'm saying we talking about family and relationships.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
right.
know, and for me, it's been a task for me to raise my daughter when I didn't, you know, let me backtrack. You know how they tell you to plan pregnancy and plan all that? No, I wasn't doing that. I was just, you know, I was being a typical male, trying to conquer everything I can.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time having these kids in the process. You know what I mean? And it's a blessing to have them that I brought them in the world. I look at it as a blessing, but it wasn't planned out on my part. You know what I mean? I wasn't working. I was still a kid. You know what I mean? A kid raising kids. So I had to, you know, I went through a lot of what you call it. I went through a lot of depression, a lot of ignorance, not knowing how to be a parent. You know what I mean? I didn't have the. When I had my first child. I'm gonna put it like this. I was a kid. I'm worrying about get myself some fresh kicks. Now I got to get this one some too. I'm
Hmm.
thinking about my first thought I was when I was what 17. I'm in the um I'm in the delivery room thinking about I gotta share my money now. My little money that I barely have. So it's just an example on how immature I was and how, you know, I didn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How
So
when you
when
think
you
about the
when
depression, right? So you said that you had some depression. Was it like because of the strains of the relationship? Like what do you think it was causing it?
it came from not planning and not knowing that, you know, once you realize that reality hits you, that you're not in a position to really for this child, you know. that's where mine came in because, like I said, I'm caught up. I'm still dealing with my surroundings, my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? I'm still
Yeah.
suppressing stuff from my upbringing, still getting my information from the street. You know what
And
I'm
then
saying?
that you were
So,
probably still in that environment as
so
well.
exactly. So for me to try now, what I'm going to do, I have to try to, now I'm like, what information could I give her? For example, it's tell you in life, somebody told me if you're a lawyer and you're a doctor, most likely your kid's going to turn out to be doctors, right?
Yeah, that's what they said.
It's somewhere in that somebody professional because you have that professionalism to give them.
That's
Now
what
I
they
grew up
seeing.
and
That's what they learning. Yeah.
okay, now on my circumstance, my father was a gangster. My mother was a drug addict. On my upbringing, so what do I really have to give to, what I mean?
What's your
What have I
example?
to my teenagers? What's the example that I have? So what are my chances of, what I mean, becoming either or? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, you come back. I'm a product of my environment, and I'm trying to, like I said, I'm making mistakes and doing wrong to thinking to do the right thing. I'm in the street. I'm hustling. I'm doing things to do the right thing. But in my mind, where the depression come in, I don't want to be there. I don't think nobody there. You know
Nobody
what I
wants to
mean?
be there.
But we get stuck and we try to justify that we're doing the right thing because we're taking care of our kids.
That's that
But if
mask.
we continue, yes, if we continue on that, we're not going to be there for our kids in the long run. You know what I mean? We're going to wind up being in prison or dead. So either, you know, I was fortunate to have, your mother in my life, having, my aunts and uncles and started reaching out. I got tired of bumping my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
That's a
started out
blessing though.
and getting, yes, and started listening. You know what I mean? Listening because, like I was saying, a lot of people that's in these situations, they want to be productive members of society. They want, what I mean? But when you get caught into that, like I'm saying, that mental health, when I say mental health, I'm talking about that's depression. That's being ignorant, not knowing what to do. You're just going with the cycle. You're just going with the norm. You see what this person do, so you're doing it, but you don't know who you are. You don't know. You haven't tapped into your full potential.
No self
You understand
identity.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So when it comes to family,
I
like,
think the family, like you said, not to cut you off, self identity and family is like hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? I think that you get your identity from the family, but like you said, in these environments, the fathers are killed, the fathers are involved in illegal stuff, so it's kind of like your self identity is geared toward, what I'm saying, more the negative stuff as opposed to if you're in suburbia, you're a lawyer, the mom's a doctor kind of thing. It's different. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes,
Now, one
yes, you're 100% right.
one last thing I want to talk about, um, regard to relationships of the parents and how that can affect the kids.
Well, how it affect the kids is like I'm saying, the cycle continues. The cycle continues. What what my what my what I got to give my kids is what my parents gave me. Nothing. So what do I really have for them? You know what I mean? Unless, what I mean, I'm fortunate I was like I was to, like
Seek the
further
help.
on
Yeah,
in life
yeah.
to seek that and seek that wise counsel. And then I was able to say, hold up, you know what I mean? Let me, you know, I made my mistakes. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to get out of that denial. That you got to get out and you got to find that you do need that guidance. You know what I mean? And you're going to always continue needing that guidance. You know what I mean? It's like I said, water run and stay fresh. It's like it's not over. This is your life. Life is about learning. Like they say, An old dog can't learn new tricks. That's not true. You know what I mean? It's always the more you open up about yourself, the more garbage you're taking out and the more fresh stuff you're putting in. You're more learning. The more you can give. You know, the more you got, the more you can. The more you receive, the more you can give. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to leave. I
And
want to
that's
leave people with a piece from what you just said. So, like you said, the more that you can, from what you're saying, the more intentionally you are about feeling what you're feeling, the more trash you could let out and more opportunities and stuff that you could let in. So a lot of people may not really know how to like how do you feel like your genuine emotion. One of the best recommendations I tell people is, sit in a silent room, take out a pen and just start writing whatever comes to your mind. So if what's coming to your mind is about fear of the future, right? It sounds like it may be some anxiety. If what's coming to mind about is some regret or some resentment that you have, that can be more depression. But it's important for you to like take the mask off, take the band-aid off, like sit there and be intentional about your feelings because until you can authentically deal with it, like you're going to keep dealing with the trash. You know what I'm saying?
yes. And see what you said right there. That's a good technique to practice. Now, as a grown man, I can accept that because, like, I'm open-minded to that. I'm not ignorant anymore, and I know that technique can help me. But now, you tell that to me at a younger age, I would have been in a cycle and looking at that as like, you crazy, man. You know what I mean? I'm not listening to that corny shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how. This is where the hood. This is how we think. We, like I said, we go back to the beginning of this conversation. We look at therapists like yourself as being, as being the sucker, being soft, and being something you're crazy or something because you're talking to somebody. You know what I mean? That's the we have on, anybody that has any common sense. We look at it. Wow, we can't trust him. He don't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Look at him. He got money. He look good. You know what I mean? We ain't talking. I'm talking to my man Debo. My man. Somebody that's
Smoke
slick.
up the block.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody that say, here, take this package and hold his nine. You all right? You know what I mean? Don't listen to that corny shit. And that's something that we got, like what you said. That's a good practice,
Yeah.
and that's what I do to maintain. Every day I get up, I try to be better for the next day. You know what I mean? Even if I make a mistake or relapse into bad habits, I try to. The next day I wake up, I got a new beginning. God bless me to have another day. Let me try. I don't give up. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
That's what you know getting over mental health is about. Like dealing with mental health is not giving up. It's like trying to keep learning more about yourself so you can, you can grow.
It's a practice. It's a journey. It's a practice. It's ups. It's downs.
Yes.
I tell everyone therapy is not like, hey, spend 3 times and clap and everything will be done. But it's about you analyzing yourself, being present with how you feeling, and then moving forward. Like Jay-Z said, you can't heal what you don't reveal. So, great
So
topic.
when you gonna write the book, man?
That was good.
When you gonna write the book?
I was just about to transition to that. So I was saying great topics. We definitely got some plans to collaborate on the book. We thinking about the title, getting through some shit. But that's to be determined. I want you guys to like, comment this video. Comment any topics that you like us to discuss. Any closing remarks you got, cuz?
All I can say is keep up the good work, man. Keep
Thank
up
you.
the good work. And listen, my cousin is real. Trust him. I know it's hard to trust when you're talking about your feelings. It's hard to really, get it out. But have trust, man. Have trust and faith. You know, things get better.
That's
All
right.
right.
That's right. That's right, man. Love you, man. Peace.
All right, cuz. Love you too. Peace.
All right.